The Cancun sun burned bright that morning. I landed 3 days early to surprise Eric with final wedding touches. My heart raced as I approached the beachfront venue, white fabric billowing in the breeze. Then I saw them. Eric stood at the altar in his navy suit, the one we picked together. But the bride wasn't me. Tessa, my best friend since college, wore my dress. The exact lace mermaid gown I'd shown her on FaceTime 4 months ago. Guests turned. Someone gasped. Eric's eyes met mine, and he didn't flinch. He smirked. "You weren't supposed to see this," he said, voice carrying over the waves. My legs went numb. Tessa lifted her hand, and sunlight caught the diamond. My engagement ring. The one Eric proposed with on my birthday last year. She was wearing my ring. The coordinator clutched a clipboard, frozen. I recognized the logo. Paradise Events. The company I'd paid $10,000 to plan our wedding. This wedding. What is this? My voice cracked. Eric stepped down from the altar, hands in his pockets like we were discussing dinner plans. "We decided not to waste the deposit," he said. "It's non-refundable, Jasmine. You know that." Tessa adjusted her bouquet, my bouquet, white roses, and baby's breath. "Don't make a scene," she whispered. The resort manager approached, a slim woman in a beige blazer. "Miss Torres?" She held out a tablet. "I need to verify something. Did you authorize payment for this event?" I nodded, throat tight. She turned the screen toward me. Invoice total, $10,000. Payer, Jasmine Torres. But the signature at the bottom wasn't mine. The loops were too wide, the J slanted wrong. "This signature," I said slowly. "I didn't sign this." The manager's face changed. "If this is fraud," she said quietly, "you may want to talk to legal." Eric's voice boomed across the beach. "She's lying. Jasmine's just jealous because I moved on." Guests murmured, shifting uncomfortably. I recognized faces. My coworker, Angela. Eric's college roommate, Dave. People who'd been invited to our wedding. Our wedding. Tessa stepped forward, mascara perfect, voice shaking. "You need help, Jasmine. You're obsessed with him. You can't accept we're happy." My chest tightened. 3 women near the bar whispered behind their hands. One of them, a blonde in a yellow dress, caught my eye. "He told us you cheated," she said softly. "That you abandoned him and ran off with someone from work." The lie hit me like a slap. I'd worked 60-hour weeks for 2 years to save for this wedding. I'd supported Eric through job changes, his mother's illness, everything. And this was the story he sold. I pulled my phone from my purse, hands shaking. "I have records," I said. "Of everything." The manager touched my elbow gently. "Miss Torres, perhaps we should move somewhere private." I shook my head. "I want copies of every document with my signature." She hesitated, then nodded. "Follow me." In the resort office, she spread contracts across the mahogany desk. Event agreement. Catering invoice. Floral arrangements. My name appeared on every page, but the signatures were wrong. Too rushed, too careless. I always signed with a small heart over the I in Jasmine. These had none. The manager leaned closer, pointing at the ceremony contract. "This one was modified 2 days ago," she said. The bride's name was changed from Jasmine Torres to Tessa Morgan. My stomach dropped. 2 days ago, I was packing. Texting Eric about the weather in Cancun. He'd sent me a heart emoji. The manager stood. "I'll need to pull something else. Security footage. Do you consent?" I met her eyes. Yes. I stepped outside, legs unsteady. The ceremony had paused. Guests clustered near the bar, whispering. Tessa stood alone by the floral arch, arms crossed. When she saw me, she walked over. Her expression wasn't guilty. It was satisfied. You should have stayed home, she said. I told Eric to just drain your savings and leave you. Ghost you. This is better, though. Cleaner. My heart pounded. I slipped my phone from my pocket, opened the voice recorder, and hit record. Screen off. Casual. Why would you do this? I asked. Tessa laughed. Because he chose me. And you were too stupid to see it coming. We've been planning this for months. She stepped closer. He never loved you, Jasmine. You were just convenient. A bank account with legs. The words burned. But I kept my face neutral, phone recording every syllable. Footsteps crunched on sand behind me. Eric. What are you doing? He demanded. Give me your phone. I held it tighter. No. My voice was steady now. Eric reached for my wrist. I stepped back. Don't touch me. 2 security guards appeared, radios crackling. The manager must have called them. Sir, one said, a tall man with a buzz cut. Please step back. Eric's face reddened. She's harassing my wife. Fiancé, I corrected. You're not married yet. The guard looked at me. Do you want to press charges? I shook my head. I just want to leave. They escorted Eric toward the hotel lobby, his protests fading. Tessa called after him, heels sinking into the sand. I walked to the parking lot alone, tears blurring the palm trees. A taxi waited by the gate. I climbed in, gave the driver my hotel name, and finally let myself cry. He glanced at me in the rearview mirror. Tough day? I nodded. He hesitated. This might sound strange, but I drove your fiancé and that woman here last month. They were laughing about something. She said, she'll never see it coming. I froze. Do you still have dashcam footage? The flight home felt endless. I landed in Houston at midnight, exhausted. My apartment building looked the same, but inside, everything had changed. The couch was gone. The TV. My laptop. Even the coffee table I'd bought at a flea market. The walls had pale squares where pictures used to hang. Our pictures. I walked through the apartment in a daze. The bedroom was half empty. His clothes, gone. My jewelry box, open and ransacked. I checked the closet. My grandmother's necklace, the gold one, was missing. On the kitchen counter, a note. Scrawled in Eric's handwriting, you can keep the dog. My breath caught. Bruno. My yellow lab. I called his name. Silence. I checked every room. The bathroom. The balcony. He wasn't there. I called Eric. Voicemail. I called Tessa. Blocked. I sat on the floor, head in my hands, and let the anger replace the sadness. He'd taken everything. But he'd made a mistake. He'd left evidence. The next morning, I started documenting. Photos of every empty space. Lists of missing items. I pulled up my bank statements. The $10,000 wire to Paradise Events. But scrolling further, I found more. $2,000 to a jeweler in February. $1,500 to a photographer I'd never hired. $800 to a tuxedo rental. All unauthorized. I called my bank. The fraud investigator, a woman named Rita, listened carefully. Miss Torres, I'm seeing a pattern here. These transactions were initiated with your account, but the IP addresses don't match your usual login locations. My hand shook. What does that mean? It means someone else accessed your account. Likely someone with your password. Eric. He'd watched me log in 100 times. Rita continued. This isn't the only issue. There are several transactions linked to him. Credit inquiries. New accounts. My stomach turned. How many? 3, she said. One is maxed out. I hired a private investigator. His name was Marcus, a former cop with tired eyes. He found the credit card in 2 days. Capital Bank. Opened in my name, using my social security number. But the address listed was Tessa's apartment. The billing statements showed charges: Paradise Events, Aria Photography, Bliss Catering. Every vendor for the wedding I'd interrupted. Eric and Tessa had planned it together. Marcus slid a folder across the table. Emails, he said. Between your fiancé and Miss Morgan. They discussed how to forge your signature. She even practiced it. I opened the folder. Printed emails, dated back to January. One subject line read, "She'll never check her credit." Another, "Just do it. She trusts you." I felt sick. Tessa's handwriting filled the margins of one page. Practice signatures. My name over and over, getting closer to the real thing. "This is identity theft," Marcus said. "You need a lawyer." The attorney's office smelled like leather and old books. Daniel Acosta sat across from me, reading Marcus's report. He was in his 50s, calm and sharp. "You have a strong case," he said. "Civil and criminal. Fraud, identity theft, theft of property. We can pursue both." I exhaled. "What do I do now?" "Gather more evidence." Quietly. "Don't confront him yet. If he thinks you're building a case, he'll destroy what's left." I nodded. "How long will this take?" "Months. But we'll win." He stood, shaking my hand. "One more thing. Act normal. Respond to his messages if he contacts you. We need him to keep talking." That night, my phone buzzed. A text from Eric. "Stop harassing us. We're married now. Move on." I stared at the screen. Married. They'd finished the ceremony. Another text. "I'll be moving back into the apartment next week. My name's on the lease." I smiled. His name hadn't been on the lease for a year. I'd renewed it alone. I texted back, "Okay." Then I ordered cameras. The cameras arrived in 2 days. Small, black, motion-activated. I installed one above the door, another in the living room, one in the bedroom. All connected to my phone. I tested them. Perfect. Eric texted again that week. "Coming by Thursday to get my stuff." I responded, "I'll be out." Thursday morning, I left the apartment and parked down the street. My phone screen showed 4 camera angles. At 11 a.m., the front door opened. Eric walked in, spare key in hand. He looked around, smiling. Then Tessa appeared behind him. They moved quickly. Eric grabbed the TV mount. Tessa took books from the shelf. "My books." They laughed about something I couldn't hear. Eric opened my desk drawer and pulled out my passport. My blood boiled. Tessa found my grandmother's necklace. I'd hidden it in a kitchen canister. She held it up to the light. "This is real gold," she said. I read her lips through the camera. I dialed 911. "I need to report a burglary in progress." The operator asked for my address. I gave it, watching Eric stuff my laptop into a duffel bag. "Are you in danger?" "No. I'm outside. But they're inside my apartment stealing. Officers are on the way. Stay on the line." I watched the cameras. Eric moved to the bedroom. He opened my closet and grabbed clothes, my winter coat, even my spare shoes. Tessa took silverware from the kitchen. Minutes later, red and blue lights flashed on my phone screen. The front door opened. 2 officers entered. Eric froze. "What's going on?" one officer asked. Eric set the bag down. "We're just retrieving shared property." The second officer, a woman with short brown hair, looked around. "Whose name is on the lease?" Mine, I said, walking through the door behind them. Eric's face paled. The officer turned. You're the resident? Yes. Jasmine Torres. I have the lease, timestamps from my security cameras, and a list of everything they've taken. Tessa's voice cracked. We weren't stealing. Eric lived here. Not anymore, I said. Eric was detained. Hands behind his back. Tessa screamed. I'm pregnant. The police station smelled like disinfectant. I sat in a white room, giving my statement. The officer took notes. Outside, through the glass, I saw Tessa crying. Eric sat stiff-backed, arms crossed. After an hour, I stood to leave. Tessa grabbed my arm in the hallway. Please, she whispered. I'm not pregnant. I lied. I just wanted them to let him go. I stared at her. You lied about being pregnant? She nodded, mascara streaking. He's all I have. Then you deserve each other. Her eyes filled with tears. He proposed to both of us, Jasmine. Same month. Same ring. I thought I was special. My chest tightened. When? March. He told me you'd never leave him. That you were too weak. I stepped back. You knew this whole time. She looked away. I thought he'd choose me. I walked out, her sobs echoing behind me. Outside, the Houston heat pressed down. I sat in my car and cried. Not for Eric. For the 12 years I wasted. Eric was released that night. No charges yet, but the investigation was open. The next morning, his supervisor called me. I didn't know why until she explained. Eric listed you as an emergency contact. We've been informed he's under investigation for fraud. We're suspending him pending charges. I thanked her and hung up. Hours later, someone knocked on my door. I checked the camera. Eric. Hair messy, eyes red. I opened the door but didn't let him in. What do you want? Jasmine, please. Tessa's crazy. The wedding was a mistake. She manipulated me. I almost laughed. You used my money. I'll pay you back. Just drop the charges. Please. His voice cracked. I pulled my phone out and hit record. Did you forge my signature? I had to. You wouldn't have understood. Did you steal from me? It was our money. Did you ever love me? Silence. He looked at the ground. That silence said everything. Leave, I said. He left. I saved the recording. Sent it to my lawyer. Word spread fast. Friends I hadn't spoken to in months started texting. Is it true? Are you okay? One message stood out. From Kayla, a mutual friend. I need to tell you something. She sent screenshots. Messages from Eric to other women. Flirting. Promises. One was dated during my birthday trip last year. Another during his mother's funeral. I'd held his hand through that funeral. He'd cried on my shoulder. And the whole time, he was texting someone named Ashley. You deserve better, Kayla wrote. I didn't respond. I forwarded everything to Daniel. That afternoon, he called. We're ready to file. Civil suit against Eric and Tessa. Fraud, identity theft, emotional distress, and theft. We're also notifying the district attorney. What happens next? They'll try to settle. If they don't, we go to court. And the resort? They're filing a separate complaint for the forged signatures. He's facing multiple charges. I felt lighter. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This is just the beginning. The lawsuit was filed on a Monday. Eric tried to countersue by Wednesday. His claim, I'd abandoned the wedding and publicly embarrassed him. He demanded $15,000 in damages. Daniel called, laughing. He's insane. Can he win? Not a chance. We have recordings, bank statements, camera footage, and Tessa's confession. His case will fall apart in minutes. The preliminary hearing was set for 2 weeks later. I spent those weeks rebuilding. New locks. New routines. I even adopted a dog from the shelter, a scruffy terrier named Max. He wasn't Bruno, but he helped. One evening, Daniel called again. Eric's lawyer withdrew. Why? Because he listened to the evidence. No attorney wants to represent a losing case this badly. I smiled. So what happens now? We proceed. Tessa's flipping. What? She's offering a statement against Eric. Says he masterminded everything. She's trying to reduce her charges. My hand shook. What did she say? That he planned to propose to a third woman if you didn't fund the wedding. Silence. We can proceed to settlement, Daniel said. I think we should. The courtroom was small, wood-paneled, cold. Eric sat beside a public defender, expression blank. Tessa wasn't there. She'd already given her statement. The judge, an older woman with silver hair, reviewed the evidence. Bank records. Emails. Camera footage. Recordings. When Eric tried to speak, his voice was smooth. Apologetic. Your Honor, this is all a misunderstanding. Jasmine and I had an agreement. She knew I'd use the money for the wedding. The judge looked at him over her glasses. An agreement to marry someone else? Silence. Daniel presented my case. Every document, every signature, every stolen item. The evidence was overwhelming. The judge didn't deliberate long. Mr. Brennan, you are ordered to pay full restitution to Miss Torres, plus damages for emotional distress, legal fees, and theft. Total, $47,000. Eric's face went white. I don't have that. Your wages will be garnished. This is not negotiable. She slammed the gavel. I exhaled. It was over. Eric's life unraveled quickly. He lost his job permanently. His car was repossessed. Tessa left him after seeing the messages to the third woman, Ashley. She'd found them on his phone during the hearing. He moved into a studio apartment on the east side. I knew because Marcus kept tabs. I didn't ask him to. He did it anyway. Just in case, he said. One afternoon, my phone buzzed. A message from the resort. Miss Torres, we wanted to apologize for the confusion. As a gesture of goodwill, we'd like to offer you a complimentary 7-night stay for 2. All expenses covered. I stared at the screen. They'd also attached a file. Security footage. Eric and Tessa, weeks before the wedding, laughing over champagne, planning everything. The timestamp showed the date I'd wired the $10,000. I saved the video. Then I called my sister. Want to go to Cancun? She screamed. Are you serious? I'm serious. I booked the trip. 2 weeks away. White sand. Clear water. No Eric. The months that followed felt like waking up. I got a new job. Better pay, better people. I moved to a bigger apartment, one with a balcony and a view of the park. Max loved it. My sister helped me decorate. We painted the walls teal, my favorite color. Hung art I actually liked. I started therapy. Twice a week, I talked to Dr. Lynn about trust, boundaries, and self-worth. It helped. Slowly, the anger faded. The hurt stayed, but it was manageable. Meanwhile, Eric posted on social media. Long rants about being betrayed by 2 crazy women. No one believed him. Comments filled with, "You're the problem," and "maybe look in the mirror." His friends distanced themselves. Even his brother stopped talking to him. One day, Marcus called. Final restitution payment just cleared. I checked my account. $47,000. Paid in full. Garnished wages, tax returns, everything. I didn't celebrate. I just felt relieved. It was really over. The Cancun trip was perfect. My sister and I spent 7 days on the beach, drinking fruity cocktails and laughing until our stomachs hurt. We snorkeled. We danced. We stayed up late talking about everything and nothing. On the last night, we sat on the sand, watching the sunset. The sky burned orange and pink, waves crashing softly. "How do you feel?" my sister asked. I thought about it. Free. She squeezed my hand. "You know what's crazy? You didn't scream. You didn't beg. You just outsmarted him." I smiled. "I learned that from you." "No," she said. "You've always been strong. You just forgot for a while." We sat in silence, the ocean stretching endlessly before us. Somewhere in Houston, Eric was working a retail job, paycheck garnished, reputation destroyed. And I was here. Whole. Free. Alive. The plane ride home felt lighter. I watched the clouds and thought about the future. New job. New apartment. New life. No more Eric. No more lies. Back in Houston, life continued. I started dating again. Nothing serious, just coffee dates and movies. It felt strange at first, learning to trust again. But I took it slow. One guy, a teacher named Marcus, different Marcus, made me laugh. We went to the museum, walked through Hermon Park, talked about everything. He didn't ask about Eric. I didn't bring him up. One evening, Marcus, my Marcus, the investigator, called. "Thought you'd want to know. Eric violated his payment plan." "What does that mean?" "He'll face penalties. Possibly jail time if he keeps it up." I didn't feel happy about it. I didn't feel sad either. I just felt done. "Thanks for letting me know. You doing okay, Jasmine?" "Yeah," I said. And I meant it. That night, I cooked dinner. Real dinner, pasta and garlic bread. Max sat at my feet, tail wagging. I looked around my apartment. My space. My rules. My life. I'd survived. No, I'd won. Months turned into a year. I got promoted at work. My sister got engaged. I stood beside her at her bridal shower, helping her plan a wedding that was everything mine wasn't. Honest. Joyful. Real. Eric's name came up occasionally. Someone would mention seeing him at a grocery store, looking tired. I'd nod and change the subject. He wasn't worth the energy. Tessa moved to another state. Arizona, someone said. I hope she found peace. Or at least a therapist. One day, I received a letter. From Eric. Handwritten, 2 pages. It started with "I'm sorry." I read the first line and stopped. Then I folded it, walked to the fireplace, and burned it. I didn't need his apology. I didn't need closure from him. I'd already found it. That evening, I sat on my balcony with Max, watching the sunset. Houston's skyline glowed. I thought about the girl who'd wired $10,000 to a man who didn't love her. She was gone now. Someone stronger had taken her place. The second Cancun trip was different. I went alone this time. Just me, a book, and 7 days of silence. I swam. I read. I ate good food. I watched the ocean and felt nothing but peace. On the 4th day, I walked past the venue. The same white fabric, the same beachfront. I didn't cry. I didn't feel angry. I just felt grateful. Grateful I'd found out. Grateful I'd fought back. Grateful I'd won. That night, I sat at the hotel bar. A woman beside me smiled. First time here? Second, I said. But it's the first time I've actually enjoyed it. We talked for hours. She'd just finalized a divorce. We swapped stories, laughed, and toasted to new beginnings. When I left, she hugged me. "You're going to be fine," she said. "You already are." I believed her. The flight home felt like closing a book. A long, painful, messy book. But one with a good ending. When I landed, my sister picked me up. "How was it?" "Perfect," I said. And it was. I started writing. Not about Eric, but about everything after. The court case. The rebuilding. The lessons. I posted it online, thinking maybe it would help someone else. It went viral. Thousands of comments. Women sharing their own stories. Men apologizing for others like Eric. It was overwhelming, but in a good way. One message stood out. "You gave me the courage to leave." I read it 3 times. If my pain helped even one person, it was worth it. My life became quieter after that. I focused on work, friends, family. I traveled more. Took up painting. Laughed easier. The anger faded completely. Eric became a memory, nothing more. One day, I ran into Tessa at a coffee shop. She looked different. Tired. She saw me and froze. "Jasmine." "Tessa." We stood there. Finally, she spoke. "I'm sorry. For everything." I nodded. "I hope you're okay." She looked surprised. "That's it?" "That's it." I paid for my coffee and left. I didn't need revenge. I'd already moved on. 2 years after the wedding that wasn't, I stood on a different beach. A smaller one, in Florida. My sister's wedding. She looked beautiful in white. Her fiancé cried when she walked down the aisle. Real tears. Real love. During the reception, she pulled me aside. "Thank you. For everything. I didn't do anything. You showed me what strength looks like." I hugged her tight. That night, I danced under the stars. Max ran around the sand, barking at waves. My new boyfriend, David, spun me around, laughing. Life was good. Better than good. I thought about Eric sometimes. Wondered if he'd learned anything. Probably not. But it didn't matter. He was paying me monthly. Garnished wages, automatic deposits. Every payment a reminder that I didn't just leave. I won. And as the sun set over the ocean, turning the sky golden pink, I smiled. Because I'd learned the most important lesson: the best revenge isn't anger. It's living well. I didn't just survive. I thrived. And that was everything. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe, comment and share.